The clinking of crystal glasses and the soft murmur of pleasantries filled the air, creating a veil over the tension that lingered in the opulent dining room. The long mahogany table was adorned with a golden centerpiece, extravagant enough to rival a royal banquet. Each place setting sparkled under the elegant chandelier, casting warm light on the faces of my family. I could feel it, the weight of expectations, the sting of familiarity, and the underlying current of rivalry that seemed to pulse through the evening. My brother Lucas sat at the head of the table, a portrait of confidence wrapped in designer attire. He was the quintessential golden child, the one everyone revered and admired. The way he polished off his gourmet meal with effortless charm made it clear he was the favorite. With every bite, he basked in their adoration, while I felt like a distant silhouette in the background, merely playing the part of a reluctant participant in his grand show. "Can you believe it?" Lucas's voice sliced through the laughter like a knife. "My little sibling here probably couldn't even afford the salad." The room erupted with laughter, the kind that echoed off the walls and wrapped around me, suffocating in its barbed embrace. My face flushed, a familiar cocktail of humiliation and anger simmering just beneath the surface. I forced a chuckle, masking the turmoil inside, not wanting to disrupt the perceived harmony of our family gathering. The jab felt like a wound, reopened for the entertainment of others. Everyone laughed as if it were a harmless joke, but I could hear the underlying message, an accusation hidden beneath a facade of joviality. It wasn't just about the meal, it was the implication that I was lesser, a financial failure, and not worthy of their attention. My heart raced, caught in a web of conflicting emotions. I took a sip of my wine, allowing the liquid to cool the flames of embarrassment licking at my cheeks, while a smile danced on my lips, forced and brittle. "Just because you have a trust fund at your disposal doesn't mean you're better than me, Lucas," I finally replied, my voice steady but underlined by a tension I hoped went unnoticed. Yet the laughter only swelled, mocking my defense, dismissing my humanity as mere entertainment for the privileged audience. My mother, seated gracefully at the opposite end, dabbed at her eyes, laughing harder than anyone, her approval promised only for the favored child. "She's just being dramatic," Lucas retorted, a smirk playing on his lips. My father, who had always been caught in the crossfire of our sibling rivalry, nodded in agreement, his face revealing a weariness I had come to read like a book. The favoritism was palpable, a silent agreement that Lucas, with his impeccable grades and effortless charm, was the apple of their eyes. Whereas I, no matter how hard I tried, was always painted as the black sheep, the one who occasionally scraped by, the one who didn't belong with the elite. As the evening wore on, I could feel the weight of those judgments, the sharp jabs disguised as humor. I was aware of every glance cast in my direction, pity, amusement, and something far worse, disdain. Despite my best efforts, the laughter echoed painfully in my ears, a reminder of the chasm that had always existed between me and the rest of my family. I looked over at Lucas, reveling in the spotlight, each joke a step further down the path of my humiliation. With each passing moment, my resolve deepened. I would not allow this to define me. I had dreams, ambitions, and a fire within me burning brighter than their expectations. The dinner would end, the laughter would fade, but the lingering taste of humiliation would not go unanswered. I glanced around the table, my parents, my brother, my family, all sharing moments of joy that felt like another lifetime removed from my own. "What's wrong, sis?" Lucas leaned closer, feigning concern, an edge of sarcasm creeping into his voice. "Didn't we bring enough bread for you to share with the rest of us?" More laughter erupted, drowning out my thoughts. I felt tears threaten to spill over, but I swallowed them back, fighting the urge to flee. Instead, I raised my glass in a mock toast to my brother, feigning confidence that I didn't feel. "To family," I said, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. "To family," they echoed back, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. As the dinner progressed, I couldn't shake the chilling feeling that this was a turning point, my moment of decision. I would not be the passive observer any longer, the sibling holding the bag while the golden child took the cake. I would rise above it, shatter the illusion they had built around me, and prove that I was worth more than just a punchline. Even as the laughter continued to roll, I felt a determination brewing, solidifying within me. The thought of proving my worth started to crystallize in my mind, an ember that promised the potential of transformation. I began to envision the steps I would take, the plans I would forge, a hidden strength I had kept under wraps now bubbling to the surface. If you've ever been underestimated by family, you'll understand every part of what happened next. The evening concluded with the same phony sentiments about togetherness and love, but the truth was buried beneath the layers of that beautiful facade. I was determined to evolve, to challenge the narrative that had been written for me, and perhaps, in time, I would reclaim not just my dignity but my place within this family on my own terms. As the laughter faded into awkward chuckles, the dining room felt like a stage where I was both performer and audience, trapped in a script I hadn't written. Lucas leaned back in his chair, his gaze locked onto me, a predator savoring its prey. I felt a wave of determination rise within me, battling against the sting of inadequacy that clung to my skin like a second layer. Are you going to just sit there and sulk, or are you going to join the fun? His voice dripped with condescension, designed to provoke. My heart pounded in my chest, the urge to lash out battling with the ingrained need to keep the peace. But every time he opened his mouth, the weight of my family's expectations pressed down harder, threatening to crush my spirit. I clenched my fists under the table, feeling the cool surface of the polished wood against my palms, grounding me. Maybe I'm just tired of being the punchline to your jokes, I shot back, surprising even myself with the firmness in my tone. The room fell silent, all eyes on me, the tension palpable. It was a moment that stretched infinitely, suspended in time, waiting for someone to break the spell. Lucas's smirk faltered just for a moment, but then he laughed, a hollow, mocking sound that echoed against the walls. "Oh, poor thing," he said, his eyes glinting with malice. "You just can't take a joke, can you?" My mother's laughter erupted again, and it stung like salt in an open wound. How could she not see the damage his words inflicted? My father remained quiet, his eyes darting between us, a silent referee caught in a game he didn't want to play. I let out a slow breath, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks, but I was done being the silent victim. "What's so funny about belittling your own sister?" I asked, forcing my voice to remain steady. The question hung in the air, and for a moment I could almost see the crack in Lucas's armor. He shifted in his seat, the confidence waning just a fraction, but I could see the gears turning in his mind, calculating his next move, ready to retaliate. "Why don't you ask Mom and Dad why they never believed in you? Maybe then you'll understand why you're always last on their list," he shot back, his words like daggers aimed straight at my heart. The laughter around the table died down, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. I felt the weight of his words settle heavily on my chest, and for a moment I wanted to shrink away, to disappear into the shadows where I wouldn't have to endure this torment. But then I remembered the dreams I had buried deep beneath layers of shame and doubt. I wouldn't let him take that from me too. "Maybe if you looked beyond your own reflection, you'd see what really matters," I retorted, my voice rising slightly. "But I guess that's too much to ask from the family favorite." The ripple of my words caught them off guard. For a brief moment, I could see the surprise on their faces, a crack in the facade of superiority that Lucas wore like a shield. The tension shifted, and I realized that I had crossed a line. I had challenged the status quo. But with my brother, every confrontation felt like a game of chess, and I was still grasping for the right strategy. As I stared into Lucas's eyes, I could see the fury simmering beneath the surface. But more importantly, I sensed something else: fear. The fear of losing his pedestal, the fear of being confronted with the reality of our family's financial situation, a reality I had only recently begun to piece together. After dinner, as the guests mingled and the chatter resumed, I slipped away to the quiet of the library, seeking solace among the shelves lined with books that had always been my escape. I leaned against the wall, inhaling the scent of polished wood and leather-bound volumes, allowing the chaos of the evening to fade. In the midst of my thoughts, the door creaked open, and Lucas stepped in, his expression a mix of annoyance and something I couldn't quite place. Was it concern? "You think you can just walk away from this?" he asked, his tone sharp. "You're embarrassing yourself." "Embarrassing myself, or are you just afraid that I might actually stand up for myself?" I shot back, my courage igniting anew. "Don't flatter yourself, you're not some sort of underdog hero," he scoffed, but I could see the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers gripped the edge of the doorframe. "Then why do you keep trying to push me down?" I countered, taking a step closer. "If I'm not a threat to you, then why do you care?" His eyes narrowed, and I could feel the weight of unspoken truths hanging between us. You wouldn't understand, he said, his voice suddenly softer, almost vulnerable. Try me, I replied, the challenge hanging in the air. He inhaled sharply, the tension shifting again. You think I'm the favorite because mom and dad want me to be? I'm the one who's keeping this family afloat. What do you mean? My heart raced as I processed his words. Their debts, the pressure, it's all on me. I'm the one who has to succeed to keep this family from falling apart, he admitted, the bravado slipping just enough for me to catch a glimpse of the cracks in his facade. What debts? I demanded, my curiosity piqued. He hesitated, shifting uncomfortably. You wouldn't understand, just stay in your lane. But the seed of doubt had been planted. The facade of Lucas's success began to crumble as I thought about the times I had seen my parents anxious, their whispers echoing late into the night. The growing tension of financial insecurity gripped me, and I realized that perhaps Lucas's confidence was a mask for his own insecurities, a facade built on the weight of expectations that neither of us could escape. As he turned to leave, I spoke one last time, my voice steady and unwavering. You may think you're the one in control, but I won't let you walk all over me anymore. The next time you want to bring me down, remember that I have my own strengths too. The door clicked shut behind him, and I stood alone in the library, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and defiance. The evening had shifted something in me, an understanding that the battle wasn't just against Lucas but against the entire dynamic of our family. I knew now that I had to uncover the truth about our financial situation and find my own path, away from the shadows of their expectations. I would not remain the underdog forever. The next confrontation wouldn't just be about defending myself, it would be about reclaiming my narrative, and I was determined to unearth the hidden power I had yet to fully realize. As I stood in the library, the hum of laughter from the dining room slowly faded into the background, leaving behind only the echo of my brother's cutting words. I hated how easily he could puncture my confidence, leaving me feeling raw and exposed. But as I stared at the spines of well-worn books, a flicker of defiance ignited within me. I refused to be the victim of his condescension any longer. I had more to offer than just being the family's punchline. Lucas, you need to understand something, I began, my voice steady as he stepped further inside the room, the door closing behind him. I'm not the person you think I am. I've been hiding part of myself for too long. His brow furrowed, eyes narrowing in suspicion, but I pressed on. The truth is, I've been working on something significant. He crossed his arms, a smirk creeping onto his face. Oh. Do tell, is it another one of your little hobbies, painting rocks or knitting sweaters? His mockery only fueled my resolve. No, it's much bigger than that. I've invested in a startup. A tech company that's been gaining traction and is about to go public. I've been quietly funding it over the past 2 years. As the words escaped my lips, I felt the weight of their significance wash over me. This was my truth, my hidden strength, and I was ready to embrace it. Lucas's expression shifted from amusement to disbelief. You, an investor? He laughed, the sound sharp and incredulous. Come on, we both know you can hardly manage your own finances, let alone invest in a company. I took a step closer, my heart racing, the adrenaline coursing through my veins. You think I can't? You've never given me the chance to prove myself. But I'm not just your sister, I have ambitions too. I've succeeded in this without your help, without mom and dad's attention. And soon, you'll see just how wrong you are about me. The silence that followed was thick, charged with an energy that felt almost electric. I could see the gears turning in his mind, the realization that I wasn't the same person he had bullied into submission. I was standing at the precipice of my own awakening, ready to leap into the unknown and claim my place in this family. As he opened his mouth to retort, I cut him off, my voice firm. You know, I've watched you bask in the glow of our parents' approval for far too long. You've made me feel inferior, but I refuse to allow that to define me anymore. They might see you as their golden child, but I'm about to show them that I can shine just as brightly. For a moment, Lucas was speechless. The facade he wore began to crack, revealing a flicker of concern. Was he afraid? The thought sent a rush of exhilaration through me, but before I could savor the moment, he shook his head, regaining his composure. You think you can just waltz in and claim your share of the family prestige? You're delusional. They'll never take you seriously. Maybe not now, I shot back, my voice rising with conviction. But I'll show them. I'll show all of you. You may have the trust fund, but I have grit and determination. I've worked for everything I have, and I'll continue to do so. Just then, the door opened again, and my mother walked in, her eyes darting between us, sensing the charged atmosphere. What's going on here? She asked, concern lacing her tone. Just a little sibling banter, Lucas replied, the smirk plastered back on his face, but it lacked its usual confidence. I could sense my opportunity slipping away. Actually, Mom, I was just telling Lucas about my investment project, I said, forcing myself to speak calmly. I think it's time I share my success with the family. Her eyebrows shot up, surprise evident on her face. Investment project, what do you mean, dear? Mom, I've been funding a tech startup that's about to go public, I said, my heart pounding. I'm not the failure you all think I am. I've worked hard and soon I'll have something to show for it. For a moment, the room fell silent. My mother's expression shifted from surprise to disbelief, mirroring Lucas's earlier reaction. You've been doing this without telling us? She questioned, her tone softening. Why didn't you come to us sooner? Because you never believed in me, I replied, my voice steady. You always saw me as the one who would never measure up. But now I'm ready to prove that I am more than just your daughter. I am capable of achieving greatness on my own terms. Lucas scoffed, shaking his head. This is a joke, right? You're just looking for attention. Am I challenged, locking eyes with him. Or am I finally stepping into my own power? You've underestimated me for far too long, and I won't let you or anyone else dictate my worth. My mother stepped closer, her expression shifting to one of concern and curiosity. I had no idea, sweetie. I'm sorry if we ever made you feel that way. Maybe we should talk more about this. Talk, Lucas interjected, his voice rising. About what? How she's wasting her time on a pipe dream. No, how she's finally breaking free from this family's expectations. My words rang out, filled with a newfound confidence that surprised even me. I won't be invisible any longer. I am ready to take my place, and nothing you say can change that. As the tension hung in the air, I could see the shifting dynamics. My mother's eyes softened, her protective instincts surfacing. And Lucas. He seemed less like the untouchable golden child and more like a cornered animal, realizing he was no longer the only one with power in this family. The stage was set for a confrontation I had long avoided, but now felt inevitable. I was ready to embrace my truth, to step into the light, and to show my family just how wrong they had been about me all along. Just wait and see, Lucas, I said, a smirk playing on my lips. I may not have a trust fund, but I have something far more valuable, an ambition that will change everything. As I turned to leave the library, I felt a surge of exhilaration. I had revealed my hidden strength, and the confrontation that awaited me could either break me or finally set me free. Either way, I was no longer afraid. I had chosen my path, and I was prepared to walk it, no matter where it led. As I stood there, poised on the brink of revelation, I could feel the tension in the room shift palpably. My mother's surprise morphed into a contemplative gaze, and for the first time, I sensed a crack in the facade of our family dynamics. Investment project? What do you mean, dear? She asked, leaning in slightly, her curiosity piqued. I've been quietly funding a tech startup, I explained, my voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling within me. It's about to go public, and I'm not just a small investor, I'm one of the primary backers. I've been doing this for 2 years. I could see Lucas's expression morph into one of incredulity, his mouth agape as if he were a fish out of water. You're joking, he scoffed, but his voice wavered slightly, betraying a hint of uncertainty. No, I'm not. I've kept this from all of you because I wanted to prove myself without your influence or pity, I continued, my heart racing with each word. You've always seen me as the underdog, the sibling who could never measure up. But I've been working behind the scenes, and I'm ready to show you the truth. My mother's eyes widened, a mixture of surprise and something akin to pride flickering in her expression. Why didn't you come to us sooner? She asked, her tone shifting from disbelief to concern. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my truth lift from my shoulders. Because every time I tried, I was met with ridicule. Lucas has always made me feel like I was nothing, like I would never amount to anything. I didn't want to be dismissed again. Lucas stepped back, the bravado that had defined him slowly dissipating. You can't be serious. You've never even shown an interest in business or investments. This sounds like a fantasy. I could feel the adrenaline surging through me, fueling my confidence. It's not a fantasy, Lucas, it's my reality. I've worked hard to build something meaningful, and I've funded the lifestyle you all enjoy. I gestured towards the opulent surroundings, the family estate that had been the backdrop of my humiliation. This house, the vacations, everything, I've been silently supporting it all. His eyes narrowed, the initial disbelief morphing into a defensive anger. You can't just come in here and claim ownership of everything. That's not how this works. Actually, it is, I countered, my voice rising with conviction. You've taken everything for granted, basking in the glow of our parents' approval while I've been the one holding everything together. You never even considered the sacrifices I made to keep this family afloat. My mother's gaze shifted between us, her brow furrowing with concern. What do you mean, holding everything together? I took a deep breath, finally feeling the courage to unveil the full extent of my truth. I've been managing the family investments and properties through my startup. I'm the one who ensured our finances were stable while you both chased after your dreams without a second thought. I've kept this family from falling apart. Silence enveloped the room, the gravity of my words hanging in the air like a heavy fog. Lucas's face flushed with a mixture of embarrassment and anger, while my mother's expression softened, realization dawning upon her. You mean to say all this time you've been the one managing our assets? Why didn't you tell us? She asked, her tone shifting from disbelief to concern. Because I wanted to prove that I could do it on my own, I replied, my voice steady now. I needed to show you all that I'm capable. I'm not just your little sister. I've grown, I've learned, and I've succeeded. Lucas's bravado crumbled further as he processed the enormity of my revelation. So you're saying you're the true owner of this estate? Yes, I affirmed, feeling a sense of empowerment wash over me. And I'm ready to take my rightful place in this family. It's time for you all to see me for who I truly am. My mother stepped closer, her eyes glistening with a mixture of pride and regret. I'm so sorry for not seeing you sooner, for not giving you the support you needed. I had no idea. As I looked into her eyes, I felt the years of pent-up frustration begin to dissipate. It's okay, Mom. I just needed a chance to prove myself, to show that I'm not the person you all thought I was. Lucas, visibly shaken, struggled to regain his composure. This changes everything, he muttered, his tone laced with disbelief. Yes, it does, I replied, my voice steady and unwavering. I'm done being underestimated. From now on, we're equals. I expect respect and recognition for the contributions I've made. The room felt charged with a newfound energy, the dynamics shifting in ways I had only dreamed of. I could see Lucas grappling with the reality of my words, the realization that I had become a force to be reckoned with. As the weight of my truth settled over us, I felt a sense of liberation. I had stepped out of the shadows and into the light, ready to claim my place not just within the family but in the world. Let's move forward together, I suggested, my voice softer now, laced with hope. I want us to work as a family, to support each other, and to build something great together. Lucas hesitated, his expression shifting from anger to contemplation. I'm sorry for how I've treated you. I didn't realize how much you've been doing for us. Apology accepted, I said, a small smile breaking through the tension. Let's start anew. This is our chance to redefine our family. With that, the air in the room lightened, the shadows of the past beginning to fade. I felt a sense of closure wash over me, knowing that I had finally claimed my power. As I turned to leave the library, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was no longer the underestimated sibling. I was a force in my own right, ready to embrace my future with confidence and strength. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more stories where the underdog finally gets the justice they deserve.